I find it unconstitutional that we prevent these kids, these gifted kids who are playing a violent game, from being able to earn any money for 3 years out of high school other than room, board, and tuition. And I said yesterday that I, for one, if kids are getting money under the table, God bless them, because they deserve it. If these coaches that we've had on the show are what do they make, 5, 6, 7 million a year? The stars of these teams should be making 5 times as much money. I know that seems exaggerated, but that's how valuable they are to these institutions and to the NCAA at large. So, in college football, if you're going to make them go for 3 years, why not have...
Imagine having such a drive and a love for your game that you dedicate endless hours of your life pushing yourself every day, inching ever so slowly toward perfection. Finally, the day comes when all your blood, sweat, and tears finally pay off, and you get the recognition you know you deserve. The caliber of athleticism required to play any sports for a D1 program is no easy feat. It is extremely physical and mentally demanding. Long practice hours, intense strength and conditioning, all while juggling a full college credit load. College athletes devote a considerable amount of their life to honoring their athletic prowess and the sports consuming them. Everything becomes based around the success and the betterment of the athletic program. Hi, I'm Dwayne Corbett, and today I will be giving a persuasive speech on why college athletes should be compensated for playing sports. The huge amount of money being made off of college sports has led to some questions. Whether athletes can be considered amateur any longer, and whether they should instead be paid for their efforts. The New York Times author wrote that Joe Nordics has been beating the drum to reform the NCAA, and he is certainly not alone. A group of former players have filed an antitrust lawsuit alleging that student athletes are entitled to some of the money that the NCAA makes off using their names in the likeness of the merchandise, such as jerseys and video games. So today I will be giving you 3 reasons why I believe college athletes should be paid, and I will be giving 3 reasons why people would argue that college athletes should not be paid. And I will give you 3 sources that support my ideas, 3 sources that actually go against my beliefs. So, if a student athlete is hurt or unsuccessful, the coach and administrators suddenly discard the noble idea of education, and the player is left with nothing. So, imagine busting your ass every day of practice, every day in school, and all of a sudden you get hurt, and they come. If a student athlete is hurt or unsuccessful, the coach and administrators suddenly discard the noble idea of education, and the player is left with nothing. Without them on the field or on the court performing and entertaining millions of college sports fans, the billion of dollars that the collegiate athletes generate simply wouldn't even exist. Without them, we wouldn't have millions of fans buying tickets for games and subscribing to expensive cables and satellite sports television packages, corporate sponsors purchasing the luxury suits and boxes in college arenas and stadiums, or customers paying top dollars for sports paraphernalia, jerseys, video games, the bearing the likeness of autographs of their favorite college players. And plus the fact that being an athlete, it's hard to balance playing sports in school and trying to get a great education. Those are the 3 reasons why I believe college athletes should be paid. Like, it's that simple. They put their life on the line. Every day they generate 40 to 50 hours of hard work into school. And plus they have to go sweat out at practice. It's intense, you know. It's like going to school twice. I maintain that the NCAA and its corporate partners make billions of dollars from college athletes. Just in 2009, the big name universities made over $12 million just from basketball. I further maintain that the players should be compensated for their hard work, especially when their names and likenesses are used in merchandise licensed by the NCAA, such as video games. For example, supporters of paying college student athletes assert that players should be paid simply because their hard work makes money for other people. Those who argue most NCAA athletes do not need to be paid because they compete in sports and play in a division that earn little or no money for their schools. People who support the current NCAA system maintain that many athletes are very financially irresponsible, so therefore they shouldn't be paid. so it would be a bad idea to pay them. The ESPN documentary broke a TV show that gives an inside view of financial woes of many professional athletes. Nothing that's around 60% of NBA players are broke within 5 years of retirement. That's the reason why they believe they should be paid. Just because some people make bad economic decisions doesn't mean that everyone should be punished. That's one of my reasons why I believe that they should be paid. The opposition further contends that the athletes who are on scholarship have free room and board, free food, free travel, books are paid for, and school is paid for. So what else do you need to be paid for? Let's think about it. What if we were to get hurt? Shouldn't we be compensated for that fact? When you add this entire thing up in a way, it's unfair compared.
It needs to be implemented so we can have some fairness going on. It's for the first order of business is for us to stop lying to one another. I brought up this point yesterday, right before Steve Spurrier came on. Excuse me, if you are on the volleyball team or the soccer team, or dare I say the women's college basketball team, because we live in the existence of Title IX, you don't generate the level of revenue that men's college basketball generates. You don't generate the level of revenue that men's football generates. Therefore, you don't deserve the revenue that they bring in. What we are really fighting as it pertains to the NCAA system, Skip, is this notion that everybody has to be treated equally and fairly. Who the hell applies to that? That's simply not true. ESPN is highly successful. The money that we're able to generate is different than the money that you might generate at another network. So forgive me if we should expect that we're going to be a bit more financially successful in certain places than we are at others. In America, I'm reading some article, and I've read several about this subject over the last couple of months, but it was a particular one literally by this guy, Clay Travis from Fox Sports, just a couple of months ago, when he used the line here, combating a free market. This is the toughest job. He called the NCAA job impossible. He said, combating a free market.
Conclusion. I maintain that the NCAA should financially compensate its players. I feel this way because I feel like they're just taking advantage of young men and women for pure financial gains. Many of these athletes put in at least 50 hours per week to make themselves better athletes and students. They make many sacrifices in their personal lives. They suffer injuries that they will not even know about until they're in their middle ages. For many, there is no off season. Please pay our athletes. Thank you.